We're talking budgets beforehand, and of course, finance ministers giving the budget announcements Thursday. And for a lot of New Zealanders, one of the questions is, but how's that going to affect my budget? How's that going to help us as a family? And it is a bit of a contentious issue, and can be one of the biggest causes of conflict within a marriage. But hey, don't take my word for it. Joining us on the program now, Executive Director of Familylife New Zealand, Wynand Jacobs. Kia ora, thanks for your time today.
Kia ora, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me, Andrew. I guess there's two words that you want to sort of that most couples want to avoid in marriage. One is the D word, right? We don't want to talk about divorce. The other word is the B word, and you've just said it. It's budget.
Budget. Oh, yes. I thought bankrupt was the other word that I was. We want to avoid that one.
Well, sometimes they go hand in hand.
Exactly.
And if you don't have the one, you'll have the other.
And it is particularly tricky for newlyweds, especially if you've had a period of your life where, hey, you earn the money, you get to make all the decisions about how that money is spent. The government takes their cut, and you get whatever's left over. No negotiation required. If you want it, you buy it, and that's all sorted. And then you get married, and you live happily ever after, right? Maybe
that's something along those lines. But you said another word. I mean, it's two of the things they say not to talk about too early in the morning is breakfast and money, and we sort of jumped straight into it.
Jumping straight into it.
But hey, it's important, and look, it could be a contentious issue for many couples and many marriages. Actually, this could be the one area that actually drives them apart. Like, it's not the affair, it's not the, I guess, dissatisfaction or roles or, these things. It's often the money. But most money problems in marriage does not actually revolve around the amount of money that you have or don't have. Most money issues in marriage is actually not about the money.
That seems counterintuitive, Wynand, if you don't mind me pointing that out. You'd think, hey, show me the money. That's what it is all about. But if it's not the money, what is it? What's behind the conflict that can arise?
Yeah, so money often elevates what's going on underneath. And that could be just our differences, but that could also be our values. I'll give you a practical example. Let's say we're going on holiday. Right? We've saved up to go on a holiday, but it's a bit of a stretch out of our budget to go on this holiday. So in going on this holiday, maybe I want to make it work because I want to treat our family. We want to go on a holiday. But then while we're there, I realize we don't actually have the budget to eat out all the time. But maybe for my spouse, it could be it doesn't feel like a holiday if we're not enjoying all this food and all these meals. And for them, that's what makes it feel like a holiday. So you've got two like competing values here. And on the one hand, I'm like, well, if we cannot do the holiday and spend on food, then maybe we shouldn't do that holiday. We should try a different holiday. But what happens is you get stuck in this cycle of you don't understand me, I don't understand you. Money has just brought the issue to the surface because you're trying to spend and have a good time with us as a family, and I'm trying to rein it in because we need to stick to our other commitments, and then we get this issue that money highlights. But the real issue here is we've got different and competing values, and we've not done the work to actually understand what those values are.
Money is just the symptom in some ways. That's what causes it to rise to the surface rather than being what's causing
it. Exactly. So I'll tell you, this was early on in our parenting journey. One of our challenging conflicts, Alra and I, was around money, but specifically around buying toys for our kids, babies, toddlers. See, because my wife has a strong value for education. I understand this now better than I did at the time, but we had to work through the understanding. And time and time again, we'd find ourselves in this, friendly arm wrestle, if you will, about buying those toys or not buying those toys. And no, we can't afford it, which is actually a term I don't like as part of my vocabulary, because it gets you in a negative frame about mindset. That's another topic on money as well. It's a loaded thing. We're actually speaking about it at our church tonight for a whole hour. Money in marriage. But The thing that landed it for us at that stage is understanding that my wife, Alre values education.
Yeah.
And for a young child, toys help them develop certain motor skills. It's an education tool, and so what a simple thing we did in those early years of marriage is we actually just put aside an amount of money each month that we can just spend on those educational toys, and it took the whole argument thing out of it. It's actually like, no, we've set this aside. And budget has been an interesting one. We know that we talk about that as a budget. Some people might not think of a budget as a great thing. It's so limiting, and yes, it is. But what if we changed the language and say, well, we've got a spending plan.
Okay.
Right? So it's not about, no, we don't have the money for that. It's like, that's not what we chose to spend our money on right now. So the underlying issue here is, are we connecting as a couple? One of our first assignments when God made Adam and Eve was to take care and steward his property, right? Which means the earth.
Yeah.
But money is a small part of that. So money in our marriage is actually an opportunity for us to team up and steward what God has given us. It's not only the 10% when we talk about tithing.
Yeah.
It's actually all of it. How we manage and steward our money is really important, and there's these opportunities for us to understand one another and get on the same page, but you need to plan together.
Money is just, I suppose, another way of looking at priorities. You that classic scripture, where your treasure is, where your heart is. What you spend money on is going to be the thing which is a priority to you. And for you and your wife, obviously, education of the children, particularly for your wife, was a priority. And you going, we can't afford it, gives a message to say, what, you don't love our children? You don't want them to have the best start in life?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is what she heard. But what I was thinking is, hey, we can't afford to spend on toys right now.
Yeah.
That's not a priority. When I understood that it's not the toys, it's the education behind it, it's like, well, we're actually on the same page. Yeah. So let's put some money aside and let's focus on that. End of the discussion, end of the argument. And like we had so much joy together once we shifted that perspective.
And communication is so important here, because there's a huge difference, I suppose, in your mindset between toys. That's a frivolous distraction, whereas education, okay, yes, we can be on board with that. We see that as a priority, etc. Different goals. Family of origin, of course, has a big role in this, but also I imagine, well, just basic respect. I know of a situation where the breaking point for the marriage, what took them to divorce, one member of the family bought a Tesla because they wanted a Tesla, and it didn't occur to them at any point that maybe they should talk to their significant other about that. They says, no, this is just what we need. My priority is looking good whilst saving the planet. Why do I even need to talk to you about it? And that not just a problem of communication, but there was obviously a breakdown of respect there, right?
You hit the nail on the head, Andrew. The lack of financial oneness is a big challenge in marriages. We actually have a little assessment that people take. It's just a quiz. It's a yes/no quiz. Mm-hmm. But one of the questions there is around, we discuss all of our purchases that we consider expensive.
Okay.
And so in marriage, working towards oneness, practically speaking, like having one bank account where all our income goes and we're sharing that, that's a real practical way of demonstrating our oneness in marriage. If that's not the way you choose to, manage your finance, the underlying principle is, are you treating it as one?
Yeah.
Are you one team in marriage? It's not 50-50, or it's not how much you contribute or how much I contribute. When I go out and earn money, I do it for Team Jacobs. And Team Jacobs together needs to decide how we're going to commit and spend that money.
Now,
and I'm accountable to Team Jacobs.
Exactly. What expensive looks like may, again, you'll need to do some work on the definitions and perhaps have an upper limit on that one. Anything over this amount, it needs to be a conversation no
That's
surprises. It gets a little bit tricky around birthdays and Valentine's and all that type of stuff. But hey, maybe that can be a separate category within. Can I say the word budget again, or are we talking?
You can
Financial
financial plan,
financial
spending
planning.
plan.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, this is such an important topic, and I know it is a stumbling block for many couples, and there'll be people listening to this at the moment saying, you know what, if we got better at this, our marriage would be so much better. Good news is there is so much resources available for people to go a bit deeper into this conversation online at familylife.nz. I mean, you've got a seminar on this topic tonight, right? So deeply involved in this. Hey, if people wanted to connect with this, I know you've got podcasts and other resources available on this topic. Through the website, the best way to do that, Wynand?
Yeah, familylife.nz. And actually, as we're working through this right now, we'll be putting out some more podcasts and content on this matter. It's so important, and I think just getting some good guidance out there is going to be really helpful. So the one thought I might want to just leave our audience today with is, you know what, money, talking from a biblical perspective, you cannot serve two masters. You either love the one or hate the other. You know, money is a bad master, but it's a good servant.
Yeah.
And if we're managing our money together and we're following good principles together, then it's actually a tool that can elevate us, elevate our marriage, and help us be a blessing to others. And isn't that what being married and being a marriage on mission is all about?
Certainly. Very good stuff indeed. Familylife.nz. Wynand, thank you again for joining us. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.